Dear brothers and sisters, Robert Harris is an English novelist, screenwriter, and most importantly, the author of numerous bestsellers. He wrote books such as Conclave, The Conspiracy, The Dictator, Enigma, and Munich, The Face of War. It was 1938, and the West had once again yielded to Hitler and agreed to Germany's annexation of Czechoslovakia. This was explained as the lesser evil, as the greater evil was that war could break out. The West once again lost the negotiations and war broke out a year later anyway. Prime Minister Chamberlain, who told the British that he had brought peace from Munich, actually brought nothing but his own shame, and as he proved to be a gullible, not to say stupid politician. There will also be references to reality, because what's happening now is reminiscent of Munich, where the dictator Hitler did what he wanted, just as Putin is doing today, regardless of wealth, opinion, and the sea of blood spilling in Ukraine. The world moves forward, but history is once again becoming the mother of fools. I fear that some are repeating this cliché. President Trump was in Munich in February 2025. Let me remind you that the heads of state meet in Munich every spring. Trump already remarked that we will not pay for expensive armaments to defend Ukraine. Putin is our friend. 6 months after Munich, Trump met with Putin in Alaska. As you already know, I still miss my friend, but whether I will find one, only God knows. As long as autumn lasts, I will have no hands, canvas, or colors to paint the beautiful things I see, remarked Vincent van Gogh. I guess autumn doesn't favor a faithful friend. He is a safe haven. Whoever finds him will find treasure, the Bible says. Blessed with the legacy of the Christian faith, I traveled to Rome at the beginning of October, for only there can I see living friendship, I believe. Moreover, I must see the Pope, for by a twist of fate, I too began to navigate between great ambition and the outlines of betrayal. In 1930 and 38, Munich became the epitome of betrayal for my nation. As a result, Poland was devoured by Hitler. How can I avoid succumbing to the errors of time? I don't know, I don't want to, but I must. So I press on and accustom myself to the fate of human history. And what will come of this time will tell. I would finally like to recall a beautiful image from the life of Jesus Christ. Familiar with the Bible from my earliest years, I constantly read the words of my Lord and Master and his rebuke to his disciples. Let the children come to me, do not forbid them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven. I once watched a film in which children were the main witnesses to Jesus' death on the cross, on Golgotha. After all, he did nothing wrong. The children said. I was deeply moved by the innocent voices. Beloved, just recently I watched a program titled What is History Silent About? The Industrial Revolution according to Raymond and Follett, featuring Ursula Pawlik and Marek Mierzwiak. In Ken Follett's Armor of Light, the residents of the town of Kingsbridge had to face the threats posed posed by the Industrial Revolution and consider how they could exploit it for their own purposes. I would like to mention all the threats associated with the Industrial Revolution and the time back then, especially for children who were mercilessly exploited, was terrible. What you are about to hear is difficult to accept how children were treated and exploited back then. This story is not for the faint of heart. Children were not workers. They were victims of the Industrial Revolution. See Kingsbridge, Łódź, where children were objects employed from the age of 4. In 1756, a law was passed stipulating that children could be employed from the age of 6, and in 1786 a law stipulating that children could be employed from the age of 8 or 9. Only in 1991 was a law passed stipulating that children could be employed from the age of 14. By 1901, 1.5 million children were employed under the age of 14. Children in factories, in weaving, in matchmaking, and in chimney sweeping, boys, were employed up to 15 hours a day, received clothing without shoes once a week, worked 12 hours on Saturday, were without any rights, and were most often disabled. After 12 hours of work, they were confined to the factory near the rotating machinery 24 hours a day because they had no accommodation. Accidents were very common. Children's corpses floated in the Thames. Their tiny fingers turned wool into felt. In the narrow chimneys, they helped themselves with nails driven into their feet, and pulling them up would practically tear their shoulders apart. See Władysław Reymont, The Promised Land, Ken Follett, The Armor of Light. In my younger days, I was lucky to find myself near the glassworks in my Ząbkowice village, Ząbkowice neighborhood. My mother received the keys to a room in an apartment building right next to the glassworks. A wall separated us from the plant, and the coal shed practically touched one of the walls of the steelworks buildings. As soon as I moved there on the paved driveway to the steelworks gate, we, together with the boys, we would play football. And there, on the beautiful September day, I turned 15. How did this happen? I jumped off a swing set there so badly that I broke my right arm and had to wait at the reception desk of the factory for the ambulance to arrive. With undisguised joy, I later greeted my classmates from class 8A and the hospital. Thus, the fate of the persecuted little ones of this world intruded on my young life. Today, I view this time very positively as one of humanity's important steps towards historical justice. In the Gospel, the disciples approached Jesus and asked, "Who is greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called the child, placed him in their midst, and said, "Truly I tell you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is greatest in the kingdom of heaven." Dearest one, dearest, I want us to follow Jesus, but also to learn something from the history of mankind.